All right, everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by another live episode of Real Estate Titans, sponsored by Lionbolt Media. I'm your host, Greg Fowler, traveling throughout the marketplace, interviewing the top real estate professionals in our field, essentially gathering insight, inspiration. It really drives and motivates these top producers above and beyond everybody else in what I'd like to consider a real estate titan. Now, our very special guest and featured titan today, right from Phoenix, Arizona, none other than Merrill Jencks. Merrill, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. I cannot wait to dive in. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm super honored to be a guest, especially after listening to a bunch of the other episodes and seeing the lineup. There's major rock stars on here. So I am very honored and humbled to be, hopefully soon to be by the end of the episode, considered a Titan.
You absolutely 100%, my friend. And the honor is
right,
all
awesome.
on our side, 100%. But so Merrill, I just want to dive into the series of questions, everybody out there to get to know you a little bit deeper as a man, as a professional, and just your story, everything that goes along with it. So let's just start with the first question, which is kind of telling everybody just a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, your progression in your life and your career.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up mostly in the Denver, Colorado area, and I moved to Phoenix in 2005 because I was dating my wife Christy, kind of long distance for a while, and she said that if we wanted to take things to the next step, I was going to have to move out here. So I packed up and moved out within a couple of weeks. So now we've been married, and been married for about 15 years, and
Wow.
I first got my real estate license in late 2009, but didn't really do anything until about 2010.
Okay.
And I get, on a personal level, we have 7 kids, all adopted through foster care. So that is a big passion of ours in terms of, raising awareness and things like that for the foster care and adoption community.
Yeah.
And we have a very, very busy household at home. We have, we've got our 7 kids, of course, but then also my sister-in-law and her 3 kids live with us, and grandma lives with us as well. So,
wow.
So we've got a very packed, exciting house, always lots of going on. Like, if you want to be my client, you better be prepared that there's just going to be kids screaming noise in the background. And that's
Merrill, I love that. I can literally imagine a film crew just capturing all of that life in your house with everything you just mentioned. Absolutely incredible. Love that. Love that.
People are always telling us that we need like a reality show, but I don't think we're that interesting.
I'd watch it. I'd watch it. Let's make that statement out there, everybody. But Merrill, no, I love
it'd be called something like Train Wreck at the Jencks residence or something like that.
The producers will work on it. We'll get that done on paper for sure. But Merrill, I love the fact that, talking about your journey through obviously being from Colorado, and that's where we're out. Shout out to everybody in the Rocky Mountain region there. But, following love and relationships, and what a beautiful story kind of bringing you there. Why Arizona? And I guess why real estate? I guess answering those 2 questions.
So why Arizona was mainly just because that's where Christy lived. She at the time was working as a nanny for a family, so she couldn't exactly just transfer.
Sure.
And I was working in the restaurant industry. So before getting into real estate, I'd worked in the restaurant industry for about 10 years.
Wow.
And I actually loved it. Like, I'm not one of these, jaded, I really enjoyed working in the restaurant industry. It's hard work, obviously, and the pay isn't nearly as good as real estate, and the hours are terrible and all of that stuff. But I did enjoy it and worked for 10 years. And luckily the restaurant I worked for in Colorado had locations in Arizona. So it was pretty easy for me to transfer.
Love that.
And then, yeah, as far as real estate, I mean, being in the restaurant industry, I was working nights, weekends, and holidays all the time. And we knew that wasn't, we were getting ready to, start taking in foster kids and start having kids. And we just kind of knew that wasn't going to be an ideal job for me to have while trying to raise a family. So I always jokingly tell people that, being in the restaurant industry, I was sick of working nights, weekends, and holidays. So I got into real estate so I could work nights, weekends, and holidays.
Merrill, I love that. That's so great.
But in all seriousness, so yes, we work nights, weekends, and holidays, but not like you do in the restaurant industry. Like in the restaurant industry, it's every holiday and it's until 1 o'clock in the morning at night, not like, for example, my favorite holiday is Independence Day. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I own my own business now. I can put my foot down and say I'm not working. But when I was in the restaurant industry, I always had to work on the 4th of July. So at least now I'm in control of it.
You know what though? But you're absolutely right. And the best and brightest minds really have the ability to kind of turn it on or turn it off in those given timeframes. And there's a lot of opportunity for freedom and balance that way. Now, as you know, what ends up happening a lot of times is the success continues to grow and time gets filled into business and not so much the personal side, but there are people that know how to do it better than others. There's no doubt. And, I absolutely love that. So what was it about real estate originally that really just got you excited about it? Because you could literally go anywhere and do anything. Was there an example or a mentor or some spark inside of you that said real estate is where I want to go? Was it one of the fall in the real estate scenario sort of things?
Yeah, I mean, I had an uncle who was kind of doing some like work with wholesale, like investor type stuff, which I didn't even understand at the time. Not even sure I fully understand now.
Sure.
But anyway, so he says, hey, you should get into real estate because there's all this great opportunity. And I had an aunt and uncle who had been a different aunt and uncle who had been real estate agents. And so I don't know, I thought it would be like this cool thing that I could do on the side while still working in the restaurant industry. Honestly, I think I got in for, not the right reasons in terms of, my schedule and hey, I've got these people doing investment type work. And then when I got started, it was, I was not one of those instant success stories at all.
Right.
Who was it that you had on a previous episode who had only been in the business for like 4 years in the Colorado area, who was just killing it?
Yeah, that was literally just recently.
Just a couple of episodes ago.
Was...
Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No. You're good. You're good. Yeah, those are rare scenarios, and so that was Jordan Terrell.
Yeah,
and that's not
Jordan
a normal
Terrell,
senior. Shout out to Jordan if you're watching.
Yeah, that was not me. I was like the opposite of Jordan Terrell. My first year, I sold 2 houses. One of them was my own, because I was kind of trying to do it on my own, right? I mean, I had a broker who was, offering, some support, which was really just like a bunch of online catalog of super salesy training classes that you could go to. And it just was like so against the grain of who I am. Like I always tell my clients, like I'm the least salesy salesperson, ever. I really don't like, I almost don't even consider myself a salesperson. I'm more of a relationships guy, but over my career, I've learned that the relationships actually is the sales guy, right? It's not the other way. The people who are all salesy are not good salespeople. The relationship people are the good salespeople. But when I was new, like I didn't like that kind of, all the different ways to close the deal. And I've never been able to stomach that kind of stuff. So eventually I joined a team and got a group of incredible mentors. I'll go ahead and shout them out here. I've got Gus Suarez, Bill Shaver, and Nick Trevelyan. And so anyway, I teamed up with those guys and they like totally helped launch my career. And I was with them for a year or so and finally started selling some homes. And then I moved about a year after that. I went and started working for Chuck Fazio, who's also been on the show as a Titan, and his wife. And then they helped me launch my career to even new higher levels. And so a couple of my really big, important mentors. And then also a few years in, I got involved with coaching through the Tom Ferry organization, and that's been huge for us as well. Wow. because I just, I'm not very good at innovating stuff. I'm not a great, like, let's reinvent how to sell houses. I'm really not like, I don't mean to like put myself down, but I'm genuinely not a creative person. Like I'm just really good at taking what somebody else has always done and ripping off and duplicating it with their permission, of course. I just learn, what works for other people, and I just figure out how to implement that in my business. Now, the biggest problem I have is just to narrow down which things I want to implement. But yeah, I honestly mastermind and look at what other people are doing and what's working for them and figure out how we can apply it into our business. And that's what I've done my whole career.
Oh gosh, Merrill, you're mentioning so much great stuff inside there, and again, laying the foundation for the career that you've just built so beautifully in the communities that you serve. And I do want to talk about Big Helper Group and kind of your thought process with the team and growth, because I know that you're incredible at what you do, and the leadership and mentorship that's there, it's hugely apparent. And the people that know, love, and trust you, they understand that. Anybody that doesn't know Merrill, you're welcome. Here he is. But let's just talk about that. I guess how you formulated the team, and then the growth pattern for the future. What's that look like?
So first of all, the team, when I was a new agent, I mentioned earlier, I had an aunt and uncle that had sold real estate for most of their career. And they had like this little tagline, they were the spouses selling houses.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
so before I even ordered my first set of business cards, I put way too much thought and energy into it. Looking back, it doesn't even matter. But I thought I had to have like some sort of tagline. Like, there's no way you're going to be successful in real estate without a tagline, right? So I'm 6'8" and way too much. And so my tagline was "Your big helper in real estate." That was kind of my thing. So yeah, a few years later, when I decided I was ready to start a team, I've always been passionate about mentoring agents. Even before real estate, when I worked in the restaurant industry, that was my favorite thing, was hiring new servers and training them and being really involved. I helped, open several brand new restaurants and things like that. And that's just like my favorite thing to do. Wow. So like, there's nothing more fulfilling than taking somebody who might not make it on their own or who's struggling on their own and train them up and just sort of teach them the ways of the Jedi, I guess.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Just teaching them, what I do. I might not be but I just, hey, this is what I've done to sell, 100 homes a year. It worked for me. It might work for you, and just teaching people how to do that stuff. And that's been one of the greatest joys of my career is, being able to pay forward and mentor and help other agents.
Wow. And Merrill, I love the fact that, you're using a Star Wars reference. It's to the fellow, Star Wars nerds, if you will. I love that. But really just shedding light and pouring into others is, I wish it was more common practice in place. Unfortunately, it's not. Everybody's so busy, right? And they're focused on their goals and what's happening in their world. But to really open yourself up, to really give and pour in, that's beautiful. And I'd encourage anybody watching or listening, please reach out to Merrill and, follow on social and really engage. If you're liking what you're hearing and you're feeling this vibe or hearing this vibe, he's an incredible man. But let's talk about the tactical side, Merrill, because we've really kind of laid the foundation. So anybody out there who's watching or listening, from your perspective, from any angle you'd love to share, if you could look back at your career thus far and pick or choose one or two things that you implemented that you really saw growth or scale or that needle moving in a positive, what's that look like for you? What advice would you give to anybody watching or listening?
Boy, so I think, and there's so many things. How do I narrow it down to the top 2 or 3 things?
Sure.
I think the number one most important thing for any agent is, especially newer agents, is consistency. Okay. I remember as a new agent being told that open houses don't work, right? Until I joined with my previous mentors, and then they taught me how to run good open houses. Wow. And that's, I literally, as a new agent, before our marketing budget, before having, a bunch of repeat referral, type clients like we have today, I built my business on open houses. But somebody else had previously told me that they don't work. Well, I see this happen with new agents all the time. And it doesn't have to be open houses. It can be whatever you're choosing. You're farming, or you're door knocking, or you're cold calling. You're giving up too soon. And I don't care if you do an open house. I'll speak to open houses because that was kind of my thing.
Sure.
For me, the open house became my office for the day, right? Wow. So it didn't matter whether the open house was slow. Obviously, it'd be ideal if a lot of people were coming in, but I'm not just sitting there playing solitaire all day if no one's coming in, right? Your open house is, it became your office, and you get your hotspot going and you start working and making follow-up calls and, working, memorizing. I remember spending time going through my script book, trying to memorize my scripts at the open houses and doing things like that. So don't just do 2 or 3, or don't just do 20 or 30 open houses and then tell me it doesn't work. Do 200 or 300 and then tell me it doesn't work. Wow. So that, huge. Yeah, I would say the consistency and, kind of the work ethic along with that, the work ethic required along with that consistency. So I think that would probably be the number one piece of advice.
And Merrill, I love that because you took it in a couple different areas there, which I love. And the first thing that I'm picking up is obviously surrounding yourself with the right mentors, because whoever told you originally that it wasn't a good idea, maybe that wasn't the best mentor or a person to listen to for that instance. So again, take free advice for whatever it is, but just know that whoever you're getting it from, make sure that they've walked the talk. And to your other point, consistency in everything. It's massive amounts of consistent action over periods of time that are going to get it done, as you stated. And you can't just attempt and then give up. And as long as it's true and practiced, and to your earlier point, being the innovator or reinventing the wheel, Merrill, it's real estate. It's been done over and over and over again. The path and the breadcrumbs and the blueprints are there. You just have to find them and follow the path and put the work in consistently, as you're stating, which I absolutely love that. And again, speaking to new agents, but that's seasoned agents as well. It's consistency. I absolutely love that.
Right.
And with the involvement of coaching in particular, obviously you give, but then you also receive. What's the path with the ferry organization and everything that's going on there? I would love to just get a little bit more on that too, since that came up.
Yeah, sure. So actually, I didn't sign up for coaching right away. What I started doing is every year I started going to Tom Ferry's annual Success Summit. It's his big, thing that he puts on once a year. It doesn't have to be Tom. I mean, we love Tom Ferry, and I'd love to shout out, if you're thinking about coaching, you should absolutely look at Tom Ferry. But I think I went to like 4 or 5 Success Summits before I signed up for coaching, because they gave away you didn't just have to sign up for coaching and then you get the good stuff. Like they gave away all the stuff that, like, the value was always there. And I used to absolutely hate going to seminars where they're just doing like all of the rah jump around, and like I literally would sit in my chair, like everyone else is jumping around, and like, just get to the tactical stuff, right? Just tell me what to do. How often do I mail the postcards?
That's so great.
But now, I think the business wears on you over time, right? You get tired, you get burnt out, you get frustrated, and now, like, I've really embraced the mindset stuff too. Like that would probably be my second piece of advice. So I know we've kind of moved on from that thing
this is
there.
Great.
But
this is great.
You have to like continually work on yourself, right? Like you're never done. You've never arrived. You're never successful, right? It's almost like this thing you're always working towards. My favorite methodology for working on yourself, and I haven't always been perfect at implementing it, but when I do it, I'm a different person, and it's the Miracle Morning. So I'm sure that probably other guests have brought that book up before or whatever. There's a specific version, the Miracle Morning for real estate agents. I like it because it's a very easy read. I struggle with books that don't have a story tied to it, so it's got a nice little story to make it easy to follow along and see how to implement. But like, doing things like that, I tell the agents on our team all the time, if you're driving around in your car and you're listening to the radio, you're listening to music, you are like wasting half of your life away. Yeah. I mean, I have so many podcasts, so many audiobooks, so many like things like that I'm just constantly working on that self-development piece.
Oh gosh. And Merrill, you're absolutely right. And you're dropping so many nuggets of information now for everybody. And I hopefully everybody's picking that up. Pause it, rewind it if you got to hear it. But going to the basis of, really spending your time wisely at open houses and not sitting around and really getting it's your office for the day. And you're taking advantage of every situation to grow and scale, to take action. And that kind of goes to your other thought process of really looking at it from, and you and I spoke a little bit before we went live here, but I really want to hit this home to everybody, is it's the action that really gets it done. It's those daily activities in small amounts. and over periods of time. And I love the fact that you mentioned that. And even driving, right? Instead of listening to that music, and there's times where you need your jam, I get it, but to feed your mind and constantly learn from different perspectives and different people, never stopping, right? Always growing, always ever changing. And the humility that comes out of you, Merrill, is incredible, by the way. And again, I love the fact that you're the way that you are. And it doesn't surprise me the success that you've had and will continue to have. It just doesn't surprise me at all. Anyway, through form or fashion.
Thank you.
But yeah, I love what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned to you previously before we came on air that I'm not I'm a doer, right? Like, just tell me how to do it, and I go back and I implement it. I'm not as great at like, let's come up with this awesome new marketing strategy. I just look at what other people. But one strategy that I have used, it's so simple, but it's been really beneficial for me. You know how when you go to a lot of these conferences and seminars and whatever, they usually give you a binder or a notepad or something like that to take notes, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time. Okay, so if you just take notes in there, you won't even remember what happened on day 1 by day 3, or on hour 1 by hour 3. Yeah. So what I do, I take my notes like normal, but the very, very last page of the notebook is my action items. Okay, so because that way it's easy to find. So I'm taking normal notes. I'm like, oh, I want to do that, or oh, I need to read that book, or oh, I want to look at that. I flip to the last page and I write out my action items. That way my action items are really, rarely do I even honestly go back and look at the rest of the notes. And I think most people, if they're being honest with themselves, they don't go back and look at the notes either, right? So to have that 1 page of action items has been, a tactical advantage for us.
Wow. It is so great when
it's so minor and easy. It's not like innovative, but it's a little strategy.
but it helps you implement. It helps you get the action items to the forefront and actually be able to take it and implement. And that's the point. And you're absolutely right. Anybody who's gone to a physical conference or, over the past year, digital conferences or anything along those lines, we're looking at it from the standpoint of you have pages and pages and pages of notes. And I would agree with you. Just going back through my thought process, I will literally highlight a certain section, or I'll dog ear something. I won't read any of the other notes except for that 1 page with that 1 highlight level. All the rest of it, I'm taking notes just to kind of put it in. But I think that that's a brilliant idea, just to have that separate page and really go through it. What I like to do in that thought process is have beautiful conversations with people who were actually there that day and say, here were the action items that I learned that day. And what are your thoughts? What stuck out to you? So then you have your action items, and then you narrow that list down even smaller. And then it's,
that's where, if you really want to take it high level, what you do, you take your action items, and at the end of it, you got to narrow it down to 3 or 4 things. And who's going to do it by when, right? Like, if you really want to get serious, like what we do, me and my wife, both going, and we always both have different action items. We don't even bother going to a conference if we don't have a meeting scheduled the moment we get back to figure out what we're with our operations manager, unless she was there with us. What are we implementing? Who's in charge of it? What's the timeline? All that stuff.
Merrill, you and I could talk all day long, my friend. I know this is just the tip of the iceberg. I love this information. I know everybody is absolutely just in awe with this. It's super, super great stuff. And again, I encourage everybody who's watching or listening, please follow Merrill and the team on social media. I'll have links down below. Contact and communicate. If anything stuck out to you and really in your heart or in your head or thought process to grow and scale, joining team, anything, because you guys are growing, Merrill. So I want to encourage everybody out there to please reach out for any reason. Hopefully I'm not throwing you under the bus that way and filling up your DM.
No, absolutely. I'm always happy to contribute. Yes, we are growing. We're always looking for new agents. We're also in the process of looking for and hiring a sales manager. So if you're in the Phoenix area, especially in the Southeast Valley, we would love to have a conversation with you. But even if you're not, I'm a giver. My favorite business book of all time, it doesn't look like it's on my wife's bookshelf here, but it's The Go Giver. That's absolutely my favorite book, and it's also a very easy read. You'll notice all my favorite books are the very easy reads. The 4 disciplines of execution and stuff. All that's like over my head.
Good man, Merrill. We're cut from the same cloth, my friend. I absolutely agree with that, 100%. But hey, I can't thank you enough. It was a true honor and a pleasure, my friend. You are dubbed an official real estate titan. So that's official. You can wear that badge with honor. No one can ever take that away from you. It's yours, Merrill, for sure. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. And everybody, thank you as always for your time and attention, your love and support. If you like what we're doing here at Real Estate Titans, don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what to do at this point. I do have to give our sponsor a quick shout out, Lion Bolt Media. If you are in real estate and you're looking to grow and develop your business to the highest of levels with digital marketing and advertising, go to lionboltmedia.com. They have a free mini course in there. It talks about content creation, lead generation, nurture, brand awareness, you name it, it's on there. So visit lionboltmedia.com. We are live here on Real Estate Titans every Tuesday afternoon. Different Titan, a different location. We'll catch everybody in the next live episode of Real Estate Titans. Take care. Thanks, Merrill.
Thank you.
Bye.